Hey guys, it's me, Pretzl Cosplay, and welcome to another tutorial video. In today's video, I want to show you how you can make this really cool tankard fully made out of EVA foam. And of course, you can download the pattern for this cool tankard on my website. I will link it in the description below. So if you want to see how to make this, then keep watching this video. And without further ado, let's get into the video. For this project I'm using low density EVA foam in 1 cm thickness. This is polyprops foam that I got at Mink in the Netherlands. I write on the foam using a white paint marker. Because the foam is dark, you need to use something light to draw on it. I use a sharp craft knife to cut the foam. The knife that I'm using here is from XL in the USA, but you can use any craft knife that you have. Just make sure that you sharpen the blade a lot, because cutting foam will dull the knife really quickly. This rectangle will form the base of the tankard. We also need a circle of foam that will form the bottom of the tankard. I'm also cutting this out of 1 cm thick EVA foam. Then I'm taking some contact glue, which I also get at Mink, and I also take a plastic squeeze bottle in which I put some of the contact glue, so it doesn't dry out as quickly. To use the glue properly, I apply a thin layer of glue onto the side of the foam that I want to glue together. So on both sides, that's really important. As you can see, the little squeeze bottle makes it a lot easier to apply the glue. There are also bigger squeeze bottles, but I really like the small ones. After the glue is applied to the foam, you need to wait a couple of minutes, and it depends how long exactly. It depends on your climate, if it's warm or cold or moist. And I usually wait about 5 minutes, and then I can put both pieces of foam together. And it's really important to actually attach the pieces of foam exactly at the right spot immediately, because this kind of glue is so strong that the bond that it forms between the two pieces of foam is actually so strong that if you want to pull them off again, that you can tear the foam and destroy it, and that's not cool. Also make sure that you apply some pressure, especially on the sides, so the glue seams will be super neat. Okay, now the base shape of the tankard is done. We still need to cut out the handle, and for that I'm cutting 2 of the same shapes out of the 1 cm thick low density EVA foam. And again I'm using the craft knife. And I want the handle to be a little bit thicker, so I glue the 2 pieces of foam together with contact glue again. After the contact glue is tacky and not wet anymore, after a few minutes, I can firmly press the 2 pieces of foam together to make a very strong bond. And so I have a 2 cm thick handle, and this is where it should go. I wanted the tankard to look like it was built up out of small pieces of wood, so I still had to cut off a little bit of material to make it look more 3-dimensional. So I just cut some strips out of the foam. And now it's time for adding some texture. And for this I'm using a wood burning tool. You can also use an old soldering iron for this, but I have this tool and I really like it. Because the low density EVA foam is so soft, it's very easy to carve lines in it by actually burning the foam with a hot tool. As you can see, there are some fumes coming off of this, and you don't want to inhale that. So to protect your lungs, please wear a respiratory mask and not just a dust mask. It's very important, and also work with open windows or outside if you can. And using this technique, I try to create a wood grain texture onto the foam. I also add some carvings on the inside of the prop to finish the look. Also, I'm just thinking about it, If you want to make this prop actually waterproof, so you can drink out of it, I think you should add some Warbler inside, because that's waterproof. But then again, if you're going to paint it, I don't know if it's very healthy to drink out of it, so it's probably the best to just keep this as a decorative prop and not actually as a drinking prop. Did you get excited to make this already? Don't forget to download the pattern from my website. It's a very easy beginner-friendly pattern, so I can recommend it to everyone. And now onto my favorite part that comes with foam crafting. That was sarcastic. And that is sanding the foam. I'm using a rotary tool to sand the foam, because it sands away the material very easily, and you can get a really nice and smooth result by using a rotary tool. Also, don't forget to wear a dust mask when sanding foam, and also to wear your hair, if you have long hair, in a braid, so it doesn't get into the rotating tool. With my heat gun, I blow some hot air over the foam. This actually serves two purposes. It will close the pores of the foam to prepare it for painting, and it also makes the foam a little bit softer, so you can smooth it out to get a really nice and smooth finish. If you want to learn more about crafting with foam, then I can definitely recommend my foam crafting book, The Ultimate Guide to Foam. I will link it in the description below. It's available as an ebook and also as a printed version, which I can sign and personalize for you. So definitely check it out. When the foam is warm, you can actually shape it, and then when it cools down, the shape will stay there. So that's how I curve the top of the tankard a bit. And now we're adding the only part that's high density EVA foam, and that's the little metal band that's going around the tankard. I use 5mm thick EVA foam for this, also from Polyprops via Mink. And then attach it carefully with the contact glue. Isn't it cool how metal bands keep returning in these projects? And with some more contact glue, I now also attach the handle onto the metal bands on the foam tankard prop. Since it's only attached with some glue on actually a very small spot of the foam, it won't be super strong, so you can't keep very heavy things in it. But that's okay. And here we also have a cool foam keg, which I showed in another video. I will link it in the description below, so you can see how to craft that one. And with some foam clay, I sculpted very tiny fake rivets that I now glue onto the tankard with some contact glue. And to make it easier to put glue on these very tiny bits, I put them on some painter's tape, which I then taped onto a piece of cardboard. It's super handy. Alright, let's start the painting. This is some Hex Flex in the color black, which is great as a flexible primer for foam that's also immediately black, so it serves as a great base color for paint. I simply brush it on in a few layers, and I'm using a makeup brush because it's very soft and easy to hold. And then I let it dry on some PVC pipe and it just sits there so it can dry. When the Hex Flex primer is dry, it's matte and black. I really like this surface. Now I take some acrylic paint in two different colors of brown and I mix them so I get a color that I really like for this tankard. I use the back of a brush to mix it, and then I clean the back of the brush and I get painting. Again, I'm using a makeup brush. Here you see a smaller brush, which is easier to use for smaller surfaces to paint. And for this first layer of paint, I paint almost the whole thing. I just keep some pieces black that I want to look like deep shadows. And then I continue with a lighter shade of brown, and I also take a smaller brush so I can especially paint on the higher pieces of the wood grain. This will make the wood grain really come to life and make it look more realistic. This step is time consuming, but I think it's also calming and relaxing, and it's really worth the extra effort. I personally really like to paint with brushes, but I also see a lot of people using an airbrush, so I wonder, what's your preferred technique for painting? Do you like to paint with brushes as well, or do you prefer to use an airbrush? Let me know in the comments, I'm really curious to know. Once the wood grain is finished painting, it looks like this. Let's take some Hex Flex metallic paint now and paint the metal parts on the tankard. I'm using the silver color, and it has some little glitter particles in it, which make the metallic color really shiny. I don't use too much paint on the brush because I don't want the silver to be too light. It has to look realistic. And now, like we say in the Netherlands, proost! So now you know how you can make a cool foam tankard like this one. It's a really fun prop to add to your costume example to take to a Renaissance fair, and also because it's fully made of foam, it's soft, so that means that most LARP groups will actually allow it as a weapon. See you in the next video! Don't forget to like and subscribe! Most LARP groups will also allow it as a weapon. Oh fuck!
Are you okay?
See you in the next video. Bye bye bye!